Mm. I mentioned last night a letter that I had refound, having first been sent it in 2011. 2011, my God, what a year. And it's just dawned on me that my mother did not attend her aunt's funeral, because this letter was written in 1982, and its writer, Matt Godson, my mother's cousin, states quite clearly that he hasn't seen my mother for at least 25 years. My great-aunt died in 1974, 8 years before this letter was written. So the reason that I didn't attend my great-aunt's funeral was that my mother didn't attend it either. This was the older of the two aunts who brought her up. And not to put too fine a point on it, and no reason not to say it at this stage, my mother couldn't stand the younger sister. She was afraid of her because of her temper. But we went to her funeral in 1973. I was there. So my parents did not attend the funeral of the aunt who raised my mother, the second aunt who raised my mother, the oldest, actually. Although she was the oldest, she died second. Lots of weird things going on, really. Because not that I had forgotten, as my brother recently pointed out, my mother did not attend his wedding, which was in 1973. In 1974, she didn't attend the funeral of her guardian, the woman who brought her up, or one of the two women who brought her up. Although, as I just said, she attended the funeral of the younger one, whom she couldn't stand. What the hell was going on? Matt Godson also calls my great-aunt Aunt Dolly. Well, I did know that Dolly had been her nickname in youth because she was only about 5 foot tall. We always called her Dodds, D-O-D-D-S. And her sister Zoe, we always called Zodes, Z-O-D-E-S. And we were told that they had acquired those nicknames when my mother and her brother were small, because apparently either my mother or her brother could not say Doll or Zoe. These aunts once had a telegram addressed to them as Odds and Sods. When the second aunt died, which was not in her own home, Wanglan aunt had taken her up to their home, presumably shortly after her sister died. I mean, they'd been together over 90 years, as I understood it. And obviously the older aunt was devastated when her younger sister died. And so she went up north to my uncle's house. Well, this presumably left their flat in London unoccupied for some period, but also remembering that after her death, my parents went to clear the flat, and I was not allowed to go with them. I was also never allowed up to the top floor of their flat. It was a flat on sort of 3 floors. Ever. And I am so blown away at the moment, I can't remember whether I have said. I used to have a wonderful device on a very old laptop, about 10 years old, called AutoRoute. And instead of allowing you to put in only 2 points, i.e. your leaving point and your destination point, it allowed you to put in any number of points. You could draw wonderful maps on it, and I did. Map after map after map showed my father's route from one place to another. In the 19 years he was working in London. The routes between his friends' houses and where he was living. The routes between his first wife's house and his second wife's house. And I noticed that all of them went up Upper Richmond Road. Upper Richmond Road was where my great aunts lived. I didn't want to make anything bad of that. I have to say, I'm wondering right now. And have been for a long time, but I just started to wonder a bit more.